Say, I was wondering with the election just ahead, are you getting sick of the mudslinging and scaremongering in the presidential race? How about some good news for a change? Good news like election reforms that will make our elections fair and help bring back the political middle, which we desperately need in these highly partisan, polarized times. Well, you'd never know it from the news media, but in states as varied as Florida and Alaska, or Massachusetts and Missouri and Virginia, grassroots citizen movements have put political reforms on the ballot that they want adopted on November 3rd. Different states, different reforms, of course, but some common themes that matter to all of us. More voice for average voters and more ways to bring back the political middle. One strategy is to give more clout to political independents, who are the largest and fastest growing element in our political landscape. We have more independents today than registered Republicans or registered Democrats, and that's a big change. Go back to 2004, for example, and about 27% of Americans identified as political independents. Today, that number has shot up to 42%, 27 to 42%, and the parties have shrunk in the meantime. The difficulty is that parties still control political primaries that are often the decisive election for Congress, for the state legislature, and for other offices. And independents are unhappy about that, and they want in on that action. Take the state of Florida, for example, which has 3.6 million independent voters. There's a movement down there called All Voters Vote, and they want and have proposed and put on the ballot a one statewide nonpartisan primary. Get rid of the Republican primary, get rid of the Democratic primary, and have all candidates from all parties run in a single wide-open primary, and all voters vote in that primary, including independents. They say that's going to pull people and politicians closer to the middle. Well, go 5,000 miles away to Alaska, a state where 54% of the voters say they're independents. They don't identify with any party. Well, a strong movement up there and a proposal on the ballot for a nonpartisan primary. But it goes much further. It bans dark money. It puts Alaska on record, along with 19 other states, in favor of a U.S. constitutional amendment that would overturn the Supreme Court Citizens United decision and restore the power of Congress and the states to regulate campaign money. But the interesting new wrinkle, another way to fight partisan extremism and rebuild the middle, is what they call ranked choice voting. In the Alaska plan, the top 4 candidates for each office in the primary would go to the general election, and then they'd use ranked choice voting. And under that system, they get an instant runoff by having voters rank all the candidates: first choice, second choice, third choice, fourth choice. In order to win, a candidate has to get a majority of the vote. You can't just have more votes than the others. And if nobody gets that in the first vote count, then they eliminate the lowest ranking candidate and reallocate his or her votes to the second choice of those voters. And they keep doing that round after round until some candidate emerges with a majority. And what the reformers say is that forces candidates to appeal across party lines, appeal across ideological lines to the whole spectrum, move people more towards the middle. Ranked choice voting is already being used in Maine and several American cities. It's on the ballot this year, not just in Alaska, but also in Massachusetts and in the city of St. Louis. So it's on the move, it's on the rise. A third strategy for fighting political extremism and making elections fair and giving more voice to voters is gerrymander reform. The basic idea is to take the job of drawing election district maps out of the hands of politicians in the legislature who draw maps, who gerrymander maps in order to keep themselves in power, and turn that job over to independent citizen commissions comprised of Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Libertarians, Greens, you name it, everybody. A bunch of states adopted that last year. Virginia is pushing a gerrymander reform this year, adopted and backed by both the Democratic and a Republican-dominated legislature. It's a hybrid plan. But the battle royal that's going on over gerrymandering is in Missouri, and it's a rearguard battle. Missouri is one of the states in 2018 that adopted gerrymander reform, and the politicians were furious seeing their power taken away, and now they're striking back like Darth Vader. they've got a proposal on the ballot this year to gut the gerrymander, non-partisan gerrymander reform and to restore the old system. The reformers call it dirty Missouri, okay? But clean Missouri has gotten some very powerful allies to fight against the legislature, including an icon of Missouri Republican politics, former three-term U.S. Senator Jack Danforth. And Danforth minces no words about the danger to good government and to the majority of middle-of-the-road voters from politicians doing the gerrymandering. When that happens, he says, extremists dominate the party primaries, incumbent legislators get pulled to the extremes, the centrist voters get ignored. He says, if clean Missouri is dumped this year, you're going to see partisanship and extreme politics like you've never seen before. The integrity of Missouri democracy is at stake. Now that's a message that resonates about American politics all across the country. And if it strikes a chord with you, then click on that little button down there and subscribe to our channel so you can get more of our videos and see more of them. And if you want to see one right now, click on that other button right over here and you can watch one right now. But whatever you do, be sure to vote this year. It's really important. And thanks.